Welcome to Fuzzybutts and Friends. Well, as much as it drives Fuzzybutts all over this place, absolutely crazy when they hear me say it. I am the host of this show, Yer Big Dog. Back again with you this week. And look over there to my left. Look who's back with us again. It's Ginger Morgan. She's the co-host and co-producer of this show. And she's also the executive director of the Puppy Up Foundation. Ginger, how's the weather?
The weather is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful here in Memphis. Better than it was, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago when we had the snow and then we had rain, but it's beautiful today. But I do want to remind everybody that February is Pet Dental Month. So most of your veterinarians are probably running some time of special. Smiley has already had his teeth cleaned so far this month. I think I may have somebody else scheduled as well. So remember, it's Pet Dental Month in February.
Pet Dental Month, yes. All right. Do we have is there a human dental month? Because I need to both take my teeth to get checked and both my kids. Well, it's good warming up, and we're getting closer to spring, I guess, in some parts of the country, because I could take my Fuzzybutts out to get their exercise a couple of times today. And so in addition to getting dental care, make sure you take your kids out for walks and to enjoy the weather out there. Well, it's speaking of, friends and good times and good weather and stuff, it's a special treat to have this guest on this episode. Ginger, we know her well, don't we?
We sure do.
Yeah, yep. She's been a long-term friend of ours. More than that, I think definitely part of the Puppy Up family for many, many, many years now. And we're excited to have her here today to talk about. I've wanted to get this episode done for so long now. It took to get season 3, but we finally have it. It's my pleasure to introduce Sheri Throop, and she's here to talk to us today about the Dog Scouts of America. I'm so excited. Hi, Sheri. Welcome to Fuzzybutts and Friends.
Hi, guys. It's good to see you both again. It's great. We have known each other. Well, I was with you when you walked through Connecticut on your first walk with Murph and Hudson, and I was with you when you walked into Boston on that last mile as well.
Yep, you and Lucy we'll get to her in a second. We're with us for the final mile in Boston. So we're coming up on 16 years since we launched it. And then probably about a year and a half, maybe it's over 2 years. I was on the road for over 2 years since we actually met you, because Connecticut was obviously the tail end of walk 1. But I kind of screwed up the intro a little bit in the spirit of exercising and engaging in activities with your Fuzzybutts. That's why I wanted to have the Dog Scouts of America on for so long. And you've been a member of that wonderful organization for so long. So thank you, Sheri, for coming on and talking to us about Dog Scouts of America. But before we begin with that, I just saw a second ago as I was doing the intro, one of your Fuzzybutts over there. Who was that? And can you...
Oh, yeah. This is Sassy.
Hey, Sassy.
This is my current girl.
She's cute.
She's a very beautiful Sassy. Now, does she have the attitude to go with the name?
Yes. She got her name. She named herself. She came home at 7.5 weeks to me. We flew back from Georgia. She went into the backyard where my big Labrador was, my dog aggressive Labrador, who I was playing Frisbee with her between my feet to try and get them used to each other. One of the things I learned in Dog Scouts. And she reached up, grabbed the Frisbee out of his mouth. He was so shocked, he dropped it, planted her feet on the Frisbee and went, called my husband and said, she's got a name.
Well, she looks at, I can see the way she looks at you. She wants to be on the show. She wants to get her 15 minutes of fame in. So we're lucky to have a Fuzzybutts, because as you can see, there's nowhere for me to put my Fuzzybutts in the camera's eye except on my lap. So, it's great to have a Fuzzybutt on there. So is Sassy, how many Fuzzybutts do you have currently, Sheri?
Currently, there's the 3 of them, Sassy, her daughter, Sarah, and Gus, my old man. He's going on 15 this year.
That's your old lab?
Wow. Yep, my old lab.
Gus is such a great name. I love that name. It's traditional and it's just very simple. And it's one syllable. Being from Texas, I like those monosyllabic words. So, all right. Well, I guess let's go ahead and talk about. We talked about Connecticut, and I mentioned Lucy, and I think let's talk about that, because that was such an important relationship, and that's really how I knew you. so well, because Lucy was such a beautiful, beautiful girl. And so let's talk about Lucy. Do you have that picture? When I met you, you had this beautiful giant poodle with you. I guess that's what you is it a giant poodle? Is that what you call the breed?
Standard.
Standard. Giant poodle. Standard poodle. Thank you. And then we came to know and love and be a part of all the puppy up walks in Connecticut you've been to many puppy up walks over the years. And
Yep.
then so tell us Lucy's story. Tell us, you start from the beginning and just tell us about Lucy, and then we have a picture to show.
Yep. Well, if I were to start at the beginning, and that would come out where I ran across your story when my other poodle, rescue poodle that we got, that Lucy sort of found for us. He'd been diagnosed with lymphoma, and they gave him less than 6 months to live. So I just Googled cancer in dogs, and and looking for resources, and puppy up, and so that's where we got into it. So Lucy started walking for Ricky, and then as she met your dogs, she started walking for other dogs, and then at the end she was walking for so many dogs. She actually ended up with a coat with a lot of letters on it, because as a standard poodle, you can do a lot of fun things with them. And one of the things I did was sort of emboss her with the initials of the people that were important to her in her life, both dogs that had passed.
I love that term, emboss. That's a great term for it, and I love it because you're absolutely right. It's like poodles or topiary. Poodles are like shrubs that you can do topiaries, right? You can do whatever you want. You can create interesting designs. Fortunately, you can't do that with Great Pyrenees. All right, so let's share. So I'll complete the story. First of all, did I meet Ricky? Where did we first meet?
Ricky passed. He was too sick to do the walk in Connecticut, and he passed before we went to Boston.
Right.
So let me share this picture with you.
Absolutely.
This one here was one of our at Boston, the end of the walk.
Wow.
And there's Lucy, all shaggy, with my two kids.
And tell us their names.
This is Josh and Amanda.
Josh and Amanda, how are they?
They're both very good. I have 2 grandchildren.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've been busy it's been 14 years, I guess, since the final mile. So
Yep.
They've been very busy in the past 14 years.
Yep. So and then the let's see if I go.
Wait, hold on a sec. So for those of you that are watching this on our YouTube channel, fuzzybuttsstudios.com, this is a picture from the final mile in Boston. So Murphy, there's with me with Hudson and Murphy. God, look how handsome and young and beautiful they were. And Murphy looks happy despite all that happened. I'll get to that in a second. Yeah. But that was right there in the center of Boston Common. That's where we were. That was actually right after we walked the final mile, 2,300 miles, almost to the nose. We walked over 2.5 years. And wow, it was so wonderful for you to come out there with your kids, Sheri, and bring Lucy with you. And then to complete the story, for those that you don't know, so within Ginger, a few weeks after this moment, after this picture was taken, Sheri, within a few weeks, Murphy started sneezing. He had a snotty nose, and then we found some flecks of blood in the mucus coming from the snout. And then it progressively got a little worse. And so I was out in Colorado trying to write the story on this. And then Ginger, I met you, I think, somewhere in Kansas, and then got Murphy and took him out to Colorado State University. And he was diagnosed with nasal adenocarcinoma and didn't make it, or almost made it a year. And so this is important because this sets up the next picture. Because one of the beautiful things, Sheri, that you did in honor of Murphy is at every event. I think there's that beautiful picture. Look at, let's just a God, what a gorgeous picture, Sheri. Because it's so gorgeous because not only does Lucy look so triumphant, so majestic, but it's also a beautiful New England, perfect Connecticut photo. You've got the rock walls there. You've got I think that was like a tobacco barn back in the day, those types of very large, tall barns, but I may be wrong. And you've got some fall foliage in there too. So, but the thing that you did that I always remember and was so special to me, Sheri, is that you would emboss Murphy's M in Lucy's butt and always paint it. I think it was always blue, puppy up blue, right?
Correct. And on the other side, the one you can't see, there's an R, which was for her sibling, Ricky, who passed from cancer during the first puppy up walk. And that was always done in red.
Gosh, I'm so sorry to hear this. I don't recall that Ricky had passed. The final mile was so crazy. We had a ton of events, but so Ricky had just passed right before you came to Boston. So your heart must have been heavy, and so it means so much to me, Sheri, that you brought Lucy and your kids to walk the final mile. That was truly a special occasion. All right. Well, I do you have a picture of Ricky on hand real quick? I'd love to see.
Yes, I do.
I would love to. Let's take a look at Ricky. We need to
See.
see, I believe in an N of one. Every cancer dog is important, is special in their own way, and has a special story. She's pulling it up right now. I kind of pulled, there we go. All right.
That's Lucy and Ricky playing tug of war in the house just after he was diagnosed with lymphoma.
Oh.
And she spent a lot of time hanging out with him.
Well, she loved him. I can tell she's playing. For those that aren't watching this on our YouTube channel, Lucy is playing, what do you call that?
Tug of war?
Tug of war.
Tug of war. Thank you. I'm going to call it pull the rope. Tug of war. She played tug of war with Ricky, and they're having so much fun. And Ricky looks like he loves his sister. It's just such a beautiful story and tough too. How was Ricky when you lost him?
He was 4.
Oh my
Oh, wow.
God, I did not
Yeah,
know
and
that.
we rescued him when he was 18 months. And I, shaved him down about every 6 to 8 weeks, and he was fine, absolutely no lumps. And then the next shave, lumps all over, and we just went from there.
Oh no.
Doctors gave us 6 months, but with some of the stuff I learned from your walk and the people you were talking to, I utilized that, and he lasted almost a year.
Wow.
Well, that's all we can hope for, is to get good quality of life as long as we can in the case of terminal or end stage cancer. Thank you for sharing the beautiful photo. Gosh, 4 years old. I didn't know that, or I didn't recall that.
Yep.
And lymphoma is, poodles are not really a common breed when it comes to cancer, and I just don't think I think that's pretty rare.
No, that it probably had something to do with the rough start he had in life. But so at the end, Lucy didn't have enough hair to cover all of the animals that she knew, all of the dogs that she knew that passed from cancer. So she wore this red cape when we did any of our walks.
Look at
Oh,
that. Look at that. That's so beautiful. You're you're truly a lover of the Fuzzybutts. You're the real deal. I've known you for so long. We've been friends for so long. And you just have the best heart when it comes to it. You're someone that inspires me. I never do stuff like that because I always got so much stuff going on. And I'm like, I don't even feel like I talk to somebody like you and I'm like, people say, "Oh, you're such a great dog guy, Luke," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. Talking to Sheri. That's a legit dog lover right there. All of her time is spent with dogs." Anyway. But that's so beautiful that you did that for Lucy, and what a special girl. And so, how long did Lucy live? And when?
Lucy was almost 15 years old when she passed.
wow.
She had was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 9. It was a lucky break that we got, literally. Somebody tried to run us off the road one day, not intentionally. But it was a good thing because as I swerved, Lucy hit the side door of the car. So I took her into the vets because there was some blood in her mouth and she had cracked a canine. And so we call that my lucky tooth. I still keep that to this
Wow.
day. And the vet did, you know, took her, checked her. I says, yeah, that seems to be the only thing. So we'll schedule an appointment and go from there and get to remove the tooth. And I said, okay. And then I have these wonderful team of vets that I work with. And the woman said, well, you know, wait a minute, did she go to the bathroom? And I said, no. She says, well, take her out, let her see if she wants to go to the bathroom, and then come on back in. I want to check her over one more time. And this was 8 o'clock at night. The woman stayed until I got finished with the accident scene to visit with Lucy. And I bring her back in, and she ran her hands under her abdomen. It turned out she had a hemangiosarcoma,
Wow.
the one that usually kills because you never know it's there.
That is there. Yep.
But Lucy was a flyball dog, and we were getting ready to go to a race that weekend. And so she was in racing trim, and the vet was actually able to feel the beginning stages of that tumor.
But that's what I'm just shocked at, because nobody ever really feels hemangiosarcoma.
Right.
It's internal.
Right.
It's involved. It has splenic involvement.
Yep.
And
And I think part of it was providence, because the reason the vet was still there at the hospital that day is because she had removed that same tumor from another dog just that afternoon and was checking on the dog. So she had felt it inside the body.
Wow.
And her fingers were, and she says, I think I feel something. She didn't call it that. She said, I'm not sure. So we did a quick ultrasound, and she said, yes, that's what it looks like. And a quick x-ray. And she said, okay, so the next step would be ultrasound. And I know these things move kind of quickly. This particular one can go at any time. And the x-ray guy was, the ultrasound guy wasn't going to be available for a couple of weeks because he was on vacation. And so I said to her, okay, it's your dog. What's your story? She goes, well, I'm going to put my dog under to fix the tooth. I'm going to pull the tooth. And that we can do day after tomorrow. I said, okay. And I said, so if it's your dog, she says, I'm pulling the tooth, and what I'll do is I'll put the dog out. I'll take a quick look into the abdominal cavity. If I see that the cancer spread throughout, we sew that up. We put the dog on antibiotics, and that's it. And we do quality of life, palliative care at that point. And otherwise, we'll do what we want, what we think we can do. I said, as long as she's got quality of life, let's go. So that's what we did. The whole thing was totally encapsulated, and she was able to bag it and then pull the bag out. It popped as she pulled it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So
the cancer cells didn't get spread or anything.
Totally clean.
Wow.
No cancer spread anywhere. But you use the right word, providence, the perfect word, providence. Yep. Your lucky tooth. My God, I put that tooth in gold, because we just had Dr. Andy Flory with Pet DX on, and I don't. So real quick about that. Do you know about Pet DX and Onco Canine?
No.
So it's a blood test for cancer. They call it liquid biopsy. And so for a couple $100, it's maybe a little bit more expensive in Connecticut, like everything is. But if your dog, they actually have it's not a chart, it's an interactive app online, and it's breed specific. And you type in the information, and it tells you when what's the appropriate age that you should take your dog in to do one of their liquid biopsies, Onco Canine. And then with the major three, hemangio being one of them, osteo, hemangio, and lymphoma, those three, there's an 85% likelihood that it will test correctly for that. I screwed that part of it up. There's a very little likelihood of a false positive, but it's 85% correct. And Ginger and I have used several of those test kits, and they've been 100% accurate. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because for all your future dogs, especially now with Gus or anything, or as your dogs get older, is that you're right. Hemangio is a silent killer. Had you not that sequence, the cascade of events not occurred, Lucy probably would have I can't say probably, may have ruptured. She would have had internal bleeding, and like what you were talking a second ago, it would have been a crisis situation, and you're not sure that no one would have been certain if she could have recovered from it. So you got 5 more years of good life from Lucy after that. So that's just magical. But Pet DX now, and the test types for it tests for 30 different types of cancer. And so, but the big three ones, you get a higher percent of success rate with those big three. So I'm recommending, we've done a couple of podcasts with Dr. Flory, just every pet parent, even if you can't afford it, it's a lot less expensive than paying for cancer treatment.
Yep.
So, and then they have a screening technology. They just came out with screening too. So please, when you have a chance, check out Pet DX and Onco Canine. It's just it will be a game changer because, like you've learned, if you can't catch the cancer early enough in your companion animal, if you're in your fuzzy butt, then you have a more than a fighting chance that you can get 5 more years, which is just an incredible outcome.
Absolutely. I mean, and every day is a gift with them. So
It is.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we talked so much about what
I've got a segue for you. Okay.
Go ahead, please.
So, where is this doctor from?
Dr. Andy Flory.
Yes.
He's in California.
Yeah.
California. Okay. We have a troop member in our dog scout troop who works in, who lives in, I think she's out in Washington, Oregon area. And she works in a veterinary oncology unit. And that was one of the things that they were feeding into research into. And she was telling me that they were getting together a blood test very soon that was going to come out. And this was quite a few years ago, the last time we talked about it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's out.
It's out now, and unfortunately, it's not being used by nearly enough pet parents out there, and that's why we've done multiple episodes. And I just want to keep talking about it because the best way to deal with cancer is to prevent it from growing and metastasizing, as we all know. So it's exciting. But I didn't mean to burn through so much, but we have so much personal history. I knew we would have a lot to share and catch up on, but I do want to talk about Dog Scouts of America because I've always wanted to talk about them because, as we know, Ginger, you talked about it in the past. We talk about it a lot with Puppy Up, is having your kid, your fuzzy butt, in good health, exercising your fuzzy butt, keeping them within their weight limits, certainly not obese. Those are real essential in keeping your dog cancer-free. And Dog Scouts of America, you have a ton of activities to keep your fuzzy butts healthy, to keep the fuzzy butts healthy. So we have a lot to cover. I sent you some notes, discussion points, and we have a lot. So I don't want to miss out on anything. So before I begin, why don't you just, since you've been with Dog Scouts of America for so long, why don't you just talk about, just the organization itself, how you got involved with it, and just give us a little information about Dog Scouts.
Well, when I joined Dog Scouts, and I like to tell everybody, and this is the truth, it was Lucy's fault. Lucy was the reason I joined Dog Scouts. She would try anything that I, was game for trying. And I'd sit down and go, okay, well, what's next? What's next? And one day the kids and I and my husband, we would go letterboxing. And that's another whole segment. We can do another segment on that. But I started Googling dog-friendly letterboxes because the idea was for the whole family to do this together. The kids, the dogs, parents, and that's the way my kids actually learned to read. My son learned to read from letterboxing clues. And
I have to stop you. I have to stop you real quick. I have absolutely no idea what that is. You see letterboxing?
Letterboxing, yes.
What is that?
It's basically a treasure hunt where you go looking for a box that somebody hides, which includes a rubber stamp and a logbook. When you find it, you put your rubber stamp, which is like your handle, like remember the old CB handles?
Mm-hmm.
You could carve a letterbox stamp that would be your handle. You would stamp into the box, write a little note about the place you were. A lot of times letterboxes were hidden where something of significance happened for the person, or they had a story to tell there, or there was a historical event. And then you would just go hide the box back again and go about your day. The idea was that you didn't take anything out of the box. It's not like geocaching where there's different goods and stuff. You don't alter the environment. You can't dig a hole. You have to hide it in the environment, provide clues, and it's supposed to be sort of like a secret treasure hunt where you take an impression and leave an impression.
Got it. So it's for humans, not for dogs. It was a human activity, and you got Lucy involved in it then.
Well, I put in dog-friendly letterboxing, and up pops Dog Scouts, because there are 3 letterboxing badges and an entire titling program for dogs collecting letterboxes.
Wow. So that's an actual badge.
3 of them.
3 of them. Okay. Wow. Wow. All right. So you and Lucy, your family were letterboxing with her, and then that's how you got involved with Dog Scouts.
Correct. Yeah. So we joined Dog Scouts, and there's over 144. I know this is 144 different merit badges now. You know, and titling programs. So
I have to look that up. I can't even think of 14 activities to do with my Fuzzybutts, because as we know, Pyrenees, there's this montage of Pyrenees doing multiple activities or commands. It's the same pose. It's the same pose. Pyrenees, well, they're guard dogs, and so they nature trained them or made them into just sitting around and observing. So, but wow, 144 badges. Well, how long has Dog Scouts been around?
They started in the mid-90s.
Okay.
The brainchild of a woman named Lonnie, who created Dog Scouts because she was at that same point with her dog that I was at with Lucy, where we were looking for new things to do, and there wasn't an organization out there that did that sort of thing. So she came up with the concept of Dog Scouts because she made the comment one day that her dog was like at Eagle Scout level, and then the 2 ideas connected, and she created this whole program.
Well, it's wonderful because you know we talked about it before, Ginger, is that and the current philosophy about animal companionship and relationships with our human counterparts is all about enrichments. You know, is that since we somehow confine and control the domicile or the environment of our Fuzzybutts, we have to make sure their lives are still enriched in certain ways. And so sometimes it's not easy for us to do. And so there should be an organization like yours, like Dog Scouts out there, that have all these different activities. Because like I said, I tried so many with my Fuzzybutts, and it's just like, nope, not interested. But I never had 144 to go through every single one just to find letterboxing. Okay, that's their activity they love. But okay, so how long have you been involved with the Dog Scouts?
See, Lucy got me involved in that, would have been somewhere around 2007.
Okay. All right. So almost 2 decades now. You've
Yep.
been you've been around for almost 2/3.
So,
Go ahead.
Sheri, where can people look to see if there's a Dog Scout troop close to them?
On our website, Dog Scouts, add the S at the end of Scouts, dogscouts.org. If you don't add the S, you're someplace else. I don't know where, but dogscouts.org. There is a troop tab, and you can go to that tab, and it'll help you locate a troop. If there's not a troop in the area, it's not that hard to start one. I did that 15 years ago. Our troop is heading towards its 16th anniversary.
Wow. Cheers.
Wow.
And that's based out of where in Connecticut do you live?
We're in the Mystic, Connecticut area.
Mystic, Connecticut. Yeah, Mystic Pizza. Yep, I walk right through that beautiful New England town, right on Long Island Sound. And wow, what a gorgeous place! What just a neat, magical place. So you started yours, and so
I started it with a young woman named Julianne, who the 2 of us had both found Dog Scouts independently, and were working on our own, which is something you can do through Dog Scouts. And we got the idea of starting a troop in our area, and so
that's how many troops are there currently in existence in the country?
There's a handful of very active troops. We're troop number 188. And I know they're up to in the 240, 200 plus numbering now, but a lot of troops have fallen.
I bet COVID wiped out a bunch of them because you just don't do community activities.
Yeah. So
that affected
the actual number of troops, active troops, fluctuates based on the people involved.
Well, it's all volunteer based, right? So
it is everything from the top down. Lonnie is still very much involved. She actually is the grounds caretaker at the camp in Michigan.
Well, you know, Puppy Up Foundation is pretty much all entirely volunteer run, and we've learned sort of the tough way is that you know sometimes even great volunteers they fall by the wayside because life happens and they don't have as much disposable time, even though it's a passion of theirs. So it's just wonderful that you have volunteers out there that care and are concerned about the health and activity level of our fuzzy butts. All right, we know about troops. So how does a dog become a dog scout? Because I've said it before. I know I've said it to you. I've always wanted my fuzzy butts to get involved with dog scouts. I've never done it. Shame on Big Dog, bad Big Dog, bad Big Dog. Sorry about that, but I do. How does the dog become a dog scout?
Well, you can become a member of a troop and become a dog, or just become a member of Dog Scouts of America by joining up.
Okay,
And
but,
then
but that doesn't guarantee that your dog is a scout just by getting a membership, correct?
correct,
All right.
correct. Your dog is a dog scout, but they don't have the dog scout title.
Okay.
Okay, Lucy and Sassy and Gus are all dog scouts. They have a dog scout title after their name. DSA comes after their name. They're a dog scout.
DSA is the title?
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's like a legit certification, I would imagine then, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And it's one that sometimes gets confused. When Lucy would go out in her cape with her badge on, people would go, "Oh, your assistance dog, that, well, you can come in here." And I said, "But no, the policy says no dogs." So, you know, part of what we do is we make sure that we follow those rules. We don't take advantage of a misconception.
Yes,
but
we
the dog-
had. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We had gosh, I can't recall the organization's name, but they train service dogs, and we actually have had a couple, I think, that train service dogs. And I was jokingly saying that I was going to get my fuzzy butts. How do you get one of the jackets so I could get my fuzzy butts? And then she scolded me because it's like, nope, you can't have non-service dogs out there because that they get in fights with the service dogs and it gets messy and stuff. So I was just going to point out that it's good that you're legit and you didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah. So, but there is a test that they have to pass, and it's similar in many ways to the AKC's Canine Good Citizen exam. There are a few differences, and the biggest one is that a scoutmaster has to observe your dog over a period of time. It's not just come in, test today, and then here's your certificate. It's a lifestyle, really. It's a socially and personally responsible lifestyle, and it's when your dog is a dog scout and they hold that title, what that says is that the dog has a level of behavior that is socially acceptable. That
I couldn't handle that responsibility.
Welcome in more places.
Yeah, I couldn't handle that responsibility because I could never fail a dog. Any dog, you get a doxy up there and it's whatever taking this test, but it's got a big heart and it's trying its best, but it just doesn't do whatever that's required for the test. There's no way I could put a fail on that. And so I would be forging documents. I'd pass everybody, and so I couldn't be a scout master. So go ahead, please.
Nobody fails. They just have some more things to work on.
Well,
and then inside of a troop, you get that help to work on those things because it's a group that can work with you.
Yeah, in my simple mind, not passing is equivalent to failing. So but you're right, in the dog world, that doesn't, actually probably in the real world, it's just how you look at it. Not passing doesn't really mean failing. It just means that you have to do some more stuff to pass. That's all you have to do, and that's definitely true with dogs. But I kid, of course. It's an important job. Well, I see that you also call them evaluators, scoutmasters slash evaluators, because
scoutmasters have been certified by National to evaluate for the Dog Scout badge.
Okay.
A badge evaluator or an evaluator, it has been certified to evaluate for a certain badge. Got it. Like I can evaluate for some badges, but I am also a scoutmaster.
Got it. I didn't know if the Scoutmaster was a title that was given to like dogs that, like, you know, I've been in DSA for 10, 20 years. I've now achieved Scoutmaster level. Because
there is such a title. It's an honor scout.
Honor Scout. So you don't have Eagle Scouts, you have Honor Scouts.
Correct.
And how does one become an honor scout?
They have to earn a number of badges across different categories and attend camp activities.
But not 100. They don't have to earn all 144, do they?
No,
I was gonna say, I don't, because I would
That
imagine.
would be what you would call an overachiever.
Well, I would imagine one of those badges involves swimming, and there's no way you're going to get a Great Pyrenees or certain breeds to swim. So it would be kind of it'd be different than an Eagle Scout where humans could perform all, every task on there. So.
Right, but there are other water badges. If you have dogs that don't like to get wet in the water, they can learn boating safety, kayaking, paddleboarding.
Could you ever imagine Hudson on a kayak, Ginger, or a boat? I don't know.
I was just going to say, can you imagine Kelly paddleboarding?
Kelly?
I can see her out there.
Kelly would be great. She probably has a great center of gravity. She's low to the ground.
Yeah.
She would love that. Kelly loves everything, but Sheri, you knew Hudson, and he was oh no H2O. He hated water. We walked 2,300 miles together, and then I think he did another 700 or so on the West Coast with me. And we'd been through every condition imaginable, but put a puddle of water right in front of him. He was like, oh no, we have to walk around it no matter how. Oh my, there'd be times on the road where there was water and he would try to divert us into traffic just to get around. He's a nightmare, Hudson, but I loved him so much. And so I would imagine he would never get any water badges at all. So, all right, what is the Cadet Scout? I saw that on your website.
Cadet Scout is a way that you can have your dog recognized and put onto the tracking list for achievements before they get the DSA badge. In order to earn any of the badges, you have to first earn that DSA badge.
Got it. Okay. Let's go. I'm sure out of the 144 different types of badges, I'm assuming that equates to different activities, right? 144 different challenges or activities.
Right, or levels of certain activities. Like for letterboxing, there's 3 different levels of badges.
Okay. So that's why there aren't 3 badges, but there are just 3 levels to that badge.
No, there's 3 separate badges because there's different requirements for each badge.
Right, but the 3 counts against the 144. So out of the 144, 3 of those are for letterboxing. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
so that's what I was thinking. I don't sometimes communicate things like I'm thinking it. But so how many out of the 144, how many activities do you think there are, different activities?
Well, I honestly couldn't guess because it's growing all the time.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you've got your agility, you've got fly ball, frisbee, dock diving, scajoring, which is when the dog pulls you on
Joring.
bike joring, kayaking,
Joring.
paddleboarding. There's tri-ball, which is a fairly obscure sport. Scenting, there's all sorts of scenting work and scenting badges.
Right.
So
some of the badges
we haven't named any activity yet that any of my dogs are going to do. It's just
Ginger, do you remember?
I've got one for you. Naked obedience.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. Or what are some of the weird activities?
My mind, Sheri, just went everywhere. So it would be, who is naked in the obedience thing? My dog. Yep. I don't dress her up, or I just put a sheet over myself and pray for the best.
With naked obedience, it's getting behaviors out of your dog at a distance where there's no leash, no collar. So you and your dog are communicating at a distance, and so you work up to that.
That's the only one that would have done that.
Yeah,
so far that I have.
I still don't think that naked probably would be my word of choice or my descriptor of choice with that activity, because it does sort of lend itself to some degree of curiosity.
Well, we do have a sense of humor with our dogs.
I love it. It's funny. It's funny, and it means a lot too. But my Pyrenees, that there's no way there'd never be any naked. There's no obedience from Pyrenees.
Okay, so I was going to say for the peers, the naked distance. 12 inches, I mean.
Well, actually, they're used to working at a distance. The thing is because of their genetics, they're programmed to work independently. So you have to convince them they want to become a partner,
right?
More than just a companion, but a partner. And then if you get them into that partner mindset, oh, when Daddy does this, I lay down. Okay,
Right, but it's the distance thing is okay because you're right. They're used to being out there on their own. That's why they're at Pyrenees attitudes are, look, we've lived for thousands and thousands of years without humans, so we really don't need you. Just keep giving us food, and thank you for that, but that's all you're going to get from us. And that's my experience. But there is no obedience or obeying part of that with that, and that's the essential part of the activity. But they are working dogs though, and what you're saying is that is so if you do an activity that's working for them, then you do get that partnership. And Ginger, I tried it once. I tried it once before. I don't know if you've forgotten. I did ski joring with Hudson and Murphy in the Hudson and Indiana in the White Mountains. I tried
I remember that.
Larry.
Inwell did it. I can't remember.
Nightmare. It was a complete nightmare. It was a catastrophic failure because Hudson, so ski joring, for those that don't know, is you tie a rope around yourself and give some slack to your mate, and then you go skiing together, I guess. Skiing, and so it's a combined activity, but every time I would veer right, Hudson would go left. Or no, the thing that what made it catastrophic is that Hudson would stop and sniff like every couple of feet, and he would always like pull me into a snowbank. So it was a nightmare. But for like 90 seconds, we have this perfect video where Hudson and I are doing this perfect skijoring together. And so everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're doing so great!" I'm like, "No, the rest of the hour activity was a complete nightmare." But so I recommend, but they have bike joring too, which is a partner. So there are so many activities. Thank you for reminding me of ski joring. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, and there's activities that where we learn about the health of our dogs, like canine nutrition. But the dogs are involved in that one as well. They have to help you raise awareness of different nutrition topics. And they do some work on that, and they help fundraise for a food donation to a pet food pantry.
Now we can do that. We can definitely work on the nutrition. If they're taste testing, they're good at that.
And you know what? Canine first aid and CPR. The dogs have to learn to allow measurements to be taken for pulse and respiration. They have to tolerate a muzzle, which is actually a good thing to teach your dogs. Did you know that in the event of an emergency evacuation, if you can put a muzzle on your dog, they can get on the subway in New York City?
I did not know that, but you know what? In thinking about that, I never thought about that until you mentioned that, Sheri. My kids are muzzle trained, but I never trained them specifically. But they're Pyrenees, so long as they think everything's okay, they give you a wide berth of what you could do with Pyrenees. But some dogs aren't like that, and you're right. Even with in emergency situations, muzzling your dog, because if the police ever have to come over. My nightmare is that, because I have giant breed dogs, is that if there's ever an emergency situation, the firemen might have to come in or something like that. They might mistake them for Smiley is a perfect example. Think of Smiley.
Yeah.
Because Smiley, what is a grin to Smiley, Ginger's dog, looks like an absolute menacing terror. He looks like he's going to rip your face off. And he scares the hell out of most people that meet Smiley, but he's the sweetest kid in the world. And that's just how he grins. And so
you can count every tooth in his head. He's like,
I have this one perfect photo of his face right in mine, and he's grinning at me, but it looks like he's about to just maul me to death. But Ginger, that's something for you to think of, is that emergency situation. The cop or fire person would easily mistake him for a threat. And might have to neutralize him. So that's a really good point. So there are some merit.
That also reminds me that for Smiley and Indiana and Grayson, we need to get larger muzzles, because I don't think any of the muzzles that I have would fit either one of them.
Well, if you took the Dog Scout first aid badge, they'd teach you how to do an emergency muzzle that you could put on with a piece of cloth or a sock or nylon.
Yeah. Oh, sockers. Yeah. That's actually a good idea.
I was kind of hoping Luke didn't have a pair of nylons to do that with, but I don't know. I'm not going there. So
I never part with my nylon stockings. Those are mine. But I do have a muzzle that occasionally people put on me, though, because anyway, for Yeah, for the safety of everyone, I'm muzzled every once in a while, so maybe we could use that for the Fuzzybutts. I like talking to you, Sheri, because we have fun. We have so many stories. We have so much history together. Because our last one was all about cancer. Those are the tough ones because you hear the hard stories and you hear the good stories, but it's all about you and your Fuzzybutts and life and the quality of life for as long as you have and the activities and the enrichments. I just think enrichment is the perfect word for it, enriching your relationship you have with your companion. But I love it that you have badges that are, I won't say socially conscious, but what would you call that? Like nutrition, a survival, educational, like
Health.
educational badges.
Yep, yep. It's about responsible pet parenting.
That's exactly what I was looking. So the exact opposite of me. So I'm good in a crisis and everything else, but it's the maintenance stuff like brushing the teeth. So responsible, say it again, responsible
Pet parenting.
pet parenting. There's a badge for that.
Well, that's built into a lot of the badges,
A lot
and
of the
it
badges.
really is the basis for the 10 Dog Scout laws.
Okay, well, I didn't see down here the 10 Dog Scout laws. Can you
Yep.
give them real quick, or do they
Like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts.
Okay.
Let's see if I can.
Well, hopefully it's not like the 12 steps. It takes like half an hour or something to recite, or it's a little bit quicker. Or yeah, you can share it. Is it short or is it long?
Well, this is the short version.
Okay, good. There we go. Oh, that's easy. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay,
yep,
there's
everyone.
long explanations at that involve, like, for instance, with the provide basic care, that goes down to also preparing
Yeah.
in the event of an emergency. If you were in a car accident, would somebody know that your dogs were home alone?
Yeah.
If you live by yourself, and do you have a care plan set up for them? I mean, that's all part of that one. So that number 10 gets very long and involved, but all of that stuff also becomes part of emergency evacuation preparedness. That's a
Right.
badge. First aid, that's a badge. So
Well, do you have, I would put number 10 as number one, but that's just how my mind thinks, because that's the absolute most fundamental thing when you become a pet parent is you have to be a responsible pet parent. And that includes everything you're talking about, but includes dental care, which Ginger mentioned, but it also includes knowing the early warning signs of cancer, such as lumps and bumps. Do you have anything about cancer signs, or do you have any badges for cancer awareness education?
it's wrapped up in healthcare as one of the issues. If we undertake it, we'll do some stuff with cancer because we're active with the Puppy Up organization.
Well, I was
So
just
we
going
go
to
through
say,
all of that stuff,
if there's a way for us to work together or something and provide you with our 10 early warning signs and make up something special for DSA, we'd be happy to do that for you guys if you're interested.
I can certainly bring that to the board and see
Yeah.
what they've got planned for up and coming events and whatnot.
Okay.
But yeah, whatever the case is, if you have some literature on it as well, I don't know if you work with Ginger on making sure DSA has literature to pass out at our Puppy Up walks, but make sure we do that, because I always want to support DSA and you and the wonderful work you're doing. But I have to ask you a question before you remove this picture from the screen. What the heck is my dog should not be allowed to eliminate in an unseemly manner?
I was wondering about that myself. Pete used to always like go in the bushes if he was going to do his business, but I don't know. What does that mean?
Well, so you're walking past the mailman and the dog lifts his leg on the mailman. That's not.
Oh, well,
that's an unseemly manner. Or you're out in a historical area, you don't let your dog pee on the statue.
So
okay.
Indiana.
And the other part of that is that you pick up any solids eliminations.
Right.
Dogs, one of the requirements for the Dog Scout parent is that we always have at least a minimum of 2 bags on hand, one to use and one to hand out.
That's a good policy.
Or if you have a Great Pyrenees,
Or if you have a Great
2 to use and 1 to hand out.
Yes. Who you're trying to get calories back onto, it can become a mess. But well, see, Indiana actually almost pooped on the chiropractor not too long ago. Would he have lost that? His Dog Scout member certification? If no,
No, that would be you.
I That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Well, I thought he was going to poop on me last night. So anyway.
Well, these are great laws for, yeah, thank you. Those are great rules and courtesies to policies to live by in society. So those are wonderful. Okay, so I still have other things I want to get to. So thank you for sharing. What did you call those? The 10 promises?
10 laws.
10 laws.
Dog Scout laws, like the Boy Scout and Girl Scouts have laws.
Okay, I did not. I was never in the Boy Scouts. I don't think which,
imagine that.
Yeah, given what we know today, might have been actually probably a good thing for me. So, but they're also a wonderful organization that has focused on the health and education and well-being of the children, or all the children across the country. So, that's why I have to ask you though: do you guys have a Cat Scouts of America, or are there any other?
Somebody did start one of those. I saw something about that on something. I just know that my cats have their own version of the way life should be, and that's the way it's going to be. And my job is to make sure the food's there at the right time.
Yeah, I had written something down earlier, and I didn't want to forget it. Do you have? I love dachshunds. I don't know if you know that. I'm probably going to get my next kid's going to be a Doxy. I just have to have one in my life. So is the Doxy dash, the Dachshund dash on one of? Do you have a badge for that?
Yeah, there is those field events like the lure coursing and the fast cat and the hurdling. Those are all in there.
Yeah, because you have the dock dive as one of the badges, right?
Correct.
And that's actually an organization. That's from an organization, right? There's actually a dock dive, or do you
there's a number of different organizations. Dock diving as a sport started from the duck hunters training their Labradors in the off season.
That's right. That's right.
They would jump from a boat or a dock to go retrieve the ducks.
I just thought
it was a waterfowl retrieving, and then it just became a sport. And now there's all sorts of, there's actually, I think most of the different governing organizations, because there's multiple governing organizations for dock diving, have usually 3 different types of dock diving. There's a retrieve, a height, and a length.
So let's get to membership. Still have a number of things I want to get to. You mentioned it before. So is it fairly easy to apply? That application process, is that an easy process?
The application is available online at the dogscouts.org website. That's the national website. If you don't have a troop number, you can also just join and work independently. That's the way I started, and then I sort of became obsessed with it and went looking for other people to share my obsession.
But you have to, you have to have the troop number before you have to be a part of a troop or have the number when you sign up for the membership. And
no, you can sign up without being a member of a troop.
Okay, I thought you had to somehow associate with a specific troop, but if you don't have one in your area, though, you can still somehow be associated with the troop nearby. But if you do that, do you have to be actively involved with that troop, or how does that work?
Well, like with our troop, we have no attendance requirements. We just ask that you join in and do what you like. We do offer some things that we do virtually. We have members out on the West Coast. We have members in New York State that are 4 or 5 hours away from us here. We have some members who belong to another troop, but they like some of our online activities, so they might come and hang with us, or they vacation in this area, and so they join our troop as well.
Oh, well, I am going to look into that, and I assure you, I'm going to do it. I know I've said it. I was going to do it over the number of years, but I think. But I've been on the road.
Anytime you're ready to start, I'm here to help you. I am.
I seriously am, and but I've been on the road for a long time, and so and for many of those years, I didn't stay in one particular place for a protracted period of time. It's only since the last several years I've been in Memphis. Base camp has been Memphis. But okay, so the next thing I wanted to ask you, which also interests me, is you have camps. So tell us about the DSA camps.
Yep. Up in Michigan, they have 2 camps a year that they hold there. It is a place where you can go with your dog, have a great vacation. One of the things that helped lead to Dog Scouts was Lonnie's interest in dog camps. She was one of the first people to have that dog camp idea, and somebody else started up a camp on the East Coast before she got organized. But then she ran with the Dog Scouts idea and incorporated the camps into that. It's a place where you can go hang out with other people from around the country. You can stay in the lodge, you can stay in a tent, you can bring your RV and park if that's the way you live. And it's you and your dogs and other people working on different activities. They'll have programmed activities and free time.
And that just sounds like a perfect way to just get together in a camp, because I've camped in so many campgrounds, I've backpacked for so many years, and I just love it.
That's Grayson telling you he wants to go to camp. Can you hear him?
Yeah, but Grayson might have to go to a different type of camp. He might have to go to the camp for the special Fuzzybutts or something like that. I'm kidding. I joke that he's about as smart as a potted plant, but he's smart. He's a good kid. He's a big sweetheart too. But I love that camping environment, getting a bunch of dog lovers together at a campground, having a wonderful time, celebrating the love of our companion animals. So I've been interested. And so do you only have one camp in the country right now?
Well, there are camps. Any troop can hold their own camp.
Oh, okay.
But you have to, to do that, you have to have a spot with some water, because there's a lot of water activities that are involved. And so putting on a camp requires a lot of people, and very few troops are that large. They do hold their own camp they hold a mini camp in Texas every year, I believe, or pretty much every year. COVID interrupted that a little bit, and our troop in the Pennsylvania, Maryland area did hold their own mini camp once or twice.
Well, we talked about that and doing that with Puppy Out. Is just once a year, just getting kind of the people together, dog lovers together, and just make it a weekend of fun and Fuzzybutts and fun. So I will check that out too, and it's good that.
Well, I believe Dog Scouts of America you could probably look at renting that camp area.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll make a note of that right now. All right. I think I got everything on my end, on my notes. I'm kind of trying to read my scribble writing. Ginger, is there anything on your end? Do you have any questions or anything that I may have missed or just can't read off my list?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot of things.
I asked you.
When I have some extra time, I'm gonna look into getting maybe Kelly and Smiley into Dog Scouts. We'll see.
Kelly would be great. I actually asked you, Ginger.
Let me know, Ginger. I'll help you out.
I meant Sheri. I actually asked you, Ginger. I meant Sheri. Sheri, did I miss anything? Did I leave anything out that you want to talk about?
The only thing with Dog Scouts is it really is about responsible pet parenting and working to get the best for your dog and out of your dog, because the more they learn, the more helpful they can be, the more places they can go with you, the more time you get to spend with them. And that's what it's all about. And
the better behaved they are.
You get a better quality of life. You get a better, you get a better behaved dog, except in the case of Pyrenees and, or at least my Pyrenees. But the outcome, to use kind of a scientific term, is that the outcome you'll have with your companion will be greatly improved by enriching. They'll enrich their lives and yours as well. So that's maybe you're right, Ginger. Maybe Grayson. That's Grayson saying, "Get me to camp. Get me to camp." Or it's more like, "Get me to camp." So because I guess I'm the one that has to learn. But I've always wanted to take Pyrenees and get them around as many activities as possible, just to see if anything will take. But it's tough with them because they are kind of sedentary by nature. Aside from walking and hiking, which, as you know, I love to do and get out there on the path with my kids. All right, anything? Oh, give us Sheri, give us the website information and your social media contact for sure.
Sure. The website for Dog Scouts of America is dogscouts.org. Our troop has a website, dsatroop188.com. And that's always a work in progress. Being volunteers, it's a lot of times you spend a lot of time with your dogs. and don't get out onto the website as often as you would like to.
Oh, I know that. Yes,
I know how that works.
You know, Ginger, I'm surprised that you didn't. This is one note that I made that I missed. I'm surprised you didn't jump in when Sheri said that she had her own Ricky and Lucy. I'm surprised you didn't jump in with your story.
You know, I didn't, because we kind of talked to them. We did talk about that. I'm surprised. Yeah. I
Did you know
totally
that
missed it.
Ginger had Lucy and Ricky?
I
No,
did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were
two
dachshunds.
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
a friend of mine had two bloodhounds who were Fred and Ethel.
Wow.
And we were all at the
we went through that. We had Lucy and Ricky, and we had two cats named George and Gracie.
oh.
Wow, Fred and Ethel and Lucy and Ricky. I think we just lost the under 30 demographic on this podcast, Ginger. That's those shows haven't been around for a long time, but
it was funny when the four of them were together because they had the dachshunds and then the bloodhounds. Just the size difference. It was really cute.
Yeah, and Lucy and Ricky were very cute. I would imagine that your Lucy and Ricky were cute together too. I would have loved to have seen them together. So, but 4 years old, God, what a loss, what a sad story. And I tend to agree with you, Sheri, is that probably exposed to something toxic or carcinogenic at a young age, or just raised in a bad environment. Unfortunately, we actually talked about this recently, Ginger, with one of our guests. When you adopt a dog, you don't get the guarantee or the certainty of where they come from. So at least you gave Ricky a wonderful, beautiful life while he was around, and certainly Lucy. She blessed my life, and I'm grateful that I had a chance to meet her on my travels many times and spend time with her. So, Sheri, you're a true friend and a great person and a lover of Fuzzybutts, and I love you dearly. You're just a wonderful person. So thank you for coming on the show.
Right back at you. And Luke, there is a badge. I think we could get your dogs to learn. It's the band badge. We had Lucy earn that, and she formed a band called the Face Lickers. So we had a good time with that.
What instrument did Lucy play? Did they have to play an instrument? Because I don't think I'm convincing Grayson and Indy did.
Lucy played the baby grand piano.
Well, I already have a name for that band. It's the Infamous Fuzzybutts. That's the name of my band. In infamous, I'm using that word incorrectly for a reason. If you watch the movie Three Amigos, there's a whole little bit about the word infamous being more than famous. So, because I'm sure that my Fuzzybutts are infamous and infamous in their own way. As was your Lucy. She was both infamous and infamous. She was as well, for sure.
I have a little clip I could share with you.
Sure, absolutely. We love
this is Lucy. Before she earned the band badge as part of her work on the band badge individually. She was learning to play, and then she was teaching. She had a student she was teaching.
I thought you were kidding about her.
Oh no, here we.
Look at that band. Look at that band. Thank you so much. Lucy's so happy with her bandmates there. God, she was, that's how I remember.
So cute.
She was always smiling. She always just had such a beautiful smile. Well, Sheri, thank you so much for coming on Fuzzybutts and Friends and sharing Lucy's story with us, and also with our audience about your wonderful organization, Dog Scouts of America. I recommend to our audience, go out there, try to find a troop in your area, become a member, enrich the lives of your Fuzzybutts. I will too. I promise. I'll make the commitment. Sheri, don't let me get away with it this time. You have my cell number. Just text me every couple months, until I do. So I will be a part of DSA, because I do believe that it's hard for you to say you really support someone or an organization unless you actively get involved. So one way or another, I'll actively get involved with DSA. And yes, if forming the infamous Fuzzybutts is the only badge that my kids ever get, that's okay with me. Because you're right, it is about being a responsible pet parent and also educating pet parents on how to be, educating pet parents on how to be responsible, which is what we try to do here, Ginger. Every episode is educate ourselves and our audience as well. So All right, Sheri, is there any final word you'd like to share with the audience before we go?
Just have fun and spend that time with them. Their lives are short, and it's up to us to help them make the most of it.
And our lives are short too, a little bit longer than Fuzzybutts, but I love it. Have fun with your Fuzzybutts. That's just sweet and simple. Okay, Ginger, did I think I already asked this by accident, but did I screw anything up or leave anything out this episode?
Nope, not
I
this
did.
time.
Are you kidding me? I did. Oh my
What?
God, and you didn't catch it. I'd like to thank Genie's Therapeutics, as they are in part our sponsor for this episode of Fuzzybutts and Friends. They're sponsoring in part every one of our episodes for season 3. We love Genie's Therapeutics. It's a wonderful CBD formulation for your Fuzzybutts. Sheri, I don't know if you've tried Genie's Therapeutics. If not, the next time you're maybe at a puppy up walk or somehow with Ginger, just to maybe get a hold of some, because as you know, as dogs get older, they have a ton of inflammation. As we all get older, I have inflammation coming out of my ears, it seems, some mornings. I can't hear anything. So, you got to manage it some way. And NSAIDs are not a good way because they do digestive damage, they do all sorts of damage. And so CBD has really turned out to be a natural way of managing inflammation. And Genie's Therapeutics, I use it on my Fuzzybutt, Indiana, and it's magical. So if you want to learn more about our sponsor for this show, Genie's Therapeutics, go to Genie's Therapeutics. It is Genie's Therapeutics or is it therapeutic.com. I screwed this. I said last time I can't screw up the sponsorship part of the show when I just screwed. What is the website? Anyway, just Google Genie's Therapeutics CBD. It's a wonderful formulation. It's based on distillate that was created. It's legit. It works wonders for Indiana, for my Fuzzybutt. So check them out, and I want to thank them for being a sponsor of Fuzzybutts and Friends. Okay, now that I screwed up the sponsor segment, I think it's time to sign off. So it's always,
I did ask them to send us some suggestions. So I'm going to ask again so that we can get that.
I consume a lot of podcasts though, and I don't know about you, Sheri, but I don't like scripted commercials, scripted ads.
They're not. It's not scripted. I said suggestions for you.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I want to get some stuff right. I want whatever they want us to say. But I like the fact that I have a personal relationship. In fact, I won't promote anything that I don't have a personal relationship with. If I don't know it's legit and I don't know it works, then I'm not going to promote it, because I don't want one of a pet parent ever coming back to me and saying, no, it didn't work at all. So we know Genie's Therapeutics is legit. It's a wonderful formulation of CBD. And yes, we'll make sure to get the verbiage next time, so I don't, on the website, so I don't screw it up. All right, everybody. It's always fun here on Fuzzybutts and Friends. You never know what you're going to get. You can check out our podcast. We drop every Tuesday, sometimes a little bit later, but we try to get it up as early as possible every Tuesday. You can find it on your podcast platform, such as iHeartRadio or Spotify. You can watch this live, like this episode. You have to see the beautiful Lucy and Ricky as well. Wonderful photographs. You could do that. You could see this, not live, but you could see this, the video of this, on our YouTube channel, which is fuzzybuttsstudios.com. Okay, everybody. Thank you again.
It's time for our cancer tip of the week.
Oh, well, why didn't you jump in when I asked you if we're supposed
because you usually do that and then you go into the cancer tip. Okay. Well,
all right. Wait, before you do that, I have to tee you up though. It's like a sponsor. It's like a sponsor segment though. All right. So now the time for our cancer tip of the week, presented by the Puppy Up Foundation. All right, go on.
Now I forgot what it was. No. Okay, so early on, I said that February is Pet Dental Month. So, I'm always talking about lumps and bumps, but make sure that you're checking the inside of your dog's mouth for any types of lumps and bumps. There are, now see, I already maybe lose my stuff. Okay, so there are there are several different types of cancers, but the 3 most common, I believe, are that you find in your dog's mouth is a squamous cell is the most common, melanomas and sarcomas. And as we know, Buddy, my dog Buddy, had a dental, and the vet found a funky lump in his. It turned out not to be any of these, but we did have it removed, and he lived for another couple of years, I believe it was, after that. But so check in your vets and in your pets, not your vet's mouth. but make sure that you schedule those dental appointments for this month.
Or in the case of Sheri, just crack your tooth. If you get in an automobile accident and crack the tooth of your fuzzy butt kid, and you find out cancer that way. Boy, that's just such a wonderful story about Lucy, Sheri. Thank you so much. We usually don't have this much fun. These shows are usually not that silly, so it's nice to have a good friend of ours on this time so we could cut up and have a little bit of fun. So Sheri, thank you again for being on this episode. We'll see you. Hopefully I'll see you soon.
Talk to you later.
All right, goodbye to Seth,
Bye.
Sheri, and Sarah, and Gus. Everyone, we will see you next week. Puppy up. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.